Good morning once again. Turn to someone and tell them, I am glad you are here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Yes. Thank you, Papaya. Thank you. I'm glad you are here. Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back safe and sound. I had a little challenge. Whenever I go, it's all vegetarian, so I always bring my own food or whatever, right? And so it's 2 weeks of just kind of eating very sparsely. But when you're doing meditation, or you're in a higher vibration, not that we're meditating 24 hours, but we're doing yoga and meditating and that kind of thing, and basically it's a class, so we're learning and writing, but it's high vibration. So you don't need a lot of food. So I have, my food generally consists of, I have a little bit of oatmeal that I bring, the oatmeal packs, and I put some trail mix, so I have little chocolate nuts and stuff in the oatmeal and eat that for morning. And then I have sort of a round cup of chicken salad with 6 little crackers, and that's my lunch. And then I'll have a can of soup or something for dinner, and that's what I eat. So, but whenever I come home, and I know I shouldn't do this, but I go run to the store, and I get potato chips, I get popcorn, I get, my noni biscuits, I get my bars, and I eat it all. And I was sitting there, I got back Thursday morning, and I'm having a little jet lag because the time is reversed. It's night there and day here. So, I was waiting for the store to open, Wegmans. So I went to Wegmans. It opens at 6, but I said, well, I'll wait till at least 7, so I don't want to be at the door like this. And I got a sausage egg sandwich, egg white, because I don't eat the yolk, but egg whites. And it was greasy. And I was like, ooh, this is good. Well, all that grease and all that popcorn and all that stuff, it was like, at night I was sort of like, why did I eat that, But it was a wonderful journey and a wonderful trip. And I'm glad to be back. So I was thinking that this morning how I always open my messages. I always say, good morning, beloved ones. I don't know if you remember that, but that's what I say. I write it in every single talk. Good morning, beloved ones. And I love to call you beloved ones. I really do. Because not only does it remind me of, that you are God's beloved, but it causes me to affirm and to really know that you are my beloved. All of you are my beloved ones. And I remember hearing that term, I think it was Reverend Lafayette Seymour, and I said, I like that greeting. I like that acknowledgement. I like to say, how are you, beloved? And don't you like hearing, the word that you are the beloved? And certainly when we come together, this feels like, to me, the beloved community that's so often talked about, right? Because when you come here into this space, into this place, most assuredly you will feel love. You will feel that you are a part of a beloved community of people. I hear that all the time, and it's true. And it's such a wonderful, sweet phrase, the beloved, to be the beloved. And you can't say the word beloved without recognizing that it means to be loved. Beloved simply means to be loved. And who among us does not want to be loved? Everyone wants to be loved, and especially to be someone's beloved. That's a special thing. That's a wonderful thing, to be someone's beloved. Maybe someone will build me a monument. Nah. But that's a special thing, to be one's beloved. I came across this quote when I was looking up the meaning of the word beloved. And it was a quote from John Adams, and he says this. He says, a desire to be observed, considered, esteemed, praised, beloved, and admired by his fellows is one of the earliest as well as the keenest dispositions discovered in the heart of man. In other words, we all want to be loved. You want to be considered by someone else, right? You want someone to consider your beingness. You want to be held in high esteem and high regard. You would like perhaps to be praised. You would like to be observed, which means to be seen by someone, to be seen by the other. We all want to be loved. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and it's a day where people profess and express their love. And oftentimes they do it with gifts or surprises, or sometimes through the traditional giving of roses and, chocolates or candy and a beautiful card. And these things are wonderful. They're lovely to receive. But it also may be, Valentine's Day also may feel like it's a reminder for those who are not in a relationship, or who don't have that special someone. And it may cause them to feel somehow that they are not necessarily loved, or they are not held in high regard by someone, or held in high esteem. That's why I kind of like the elementary school tradition of you gave Valentine's Day cards to everybody. If you had 39 people in your class, your mama had to get 39 cards. So that everyone could feel that. It's an interesting phenomenon of sometimes recognizing that this is a holiday, but it can cause us to feel that we are not a part of, which is never true. We are already the beloved. One of my friends wrote this on Facebook, and I asked her, could I share her quote? She just, how people were, if you were on Facebook, people were sending general happy Valentine's Day greetings to their Facebook friends and family. This is what she wrote. She wrote, "Happy Love Day, Facebook family. If you don't have that special someone, it's okay. There's plenty of people in the world who would love to hear your voice, see your smile, or spend some quality time with you. Volunteering is always a sweet thing to do, and children always appreciate love. Make today special." Now, when I read that, I loved it because it wasn't just about our receiving love, right? But it was more about giving it and expressing it and allowing it to come forth from us. Maybe you could walk around and just give a smile to someone. There was someone that would appreciate your beinghood, always. If it's no more than to offer, the light of your presence, or to give a hug to a child, there's always an opportunity for us to express love. And this is so key, and it's so important, because so often we think that we will get love when others give it to us. See? So I don't have anybody to give me flowers or to give me chocolate or whatever it is. And we somehow think that we'll get love when others give it to us. But the truth of the matter is, and this is a spiritual and a mystical phenomenon, because the opposite is just the truth. It is when you give it that you actually receive it. See, when you give, it is the giving of love that you will receive it, not necessarily from some outside source or some outside person. But the very act of your giving love causes you to be in the vibration of love. And you can't be in the vibration of love without yourself receiving the very thing that you are expressing and giving. When I was in India this time, and they put us through this intense process. We have classes and lessons and processes. And during this particular process, I was in deep prayer. And actually, while I was in the midst of this process, I was having a conversation with my divine. Now, that's how they phrase your personal relationship with God, as your divine. There's the Godhead, but then you have your personal relationship, and they say that that's your divine, the individualized expression of God in you as you. That place, that personal place where you and God meet within, and it's just the Christ in you, or the higher self, whatever you want to. It's your personal divine. And that they encourage you to have a relationship. You know, not God as a theory and a concept, but God, not God even as a transcendent God, but the eminent God. That God within you, with every breath you take, that we can communicate with and commune with and abide in. So I was having this conversation with my divine, and I wanted to feel its love. I wanted to feel its love more deeply in my heart. And I wanted my heart to be so open. They call it the flowering of the heart. And I wanted my heart to flower. I wanted my love to be so open that love would come pouring through and therefore pouring out of me and therefore touching and transforming everything and everyone in my presence. Now, that felt kind of grand, didn't it? Yeah. But you know, you can either go big or go home. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to have this love be so full in me, so present in me, that my heart would burst open, and that being in my presence, I would just be giving off love, the vibration of love, the healing energy, because that's what Jesus was able to do, you see. You could just be in his presence and be healed, because the presence of love, the presence of light, the presence of wisdom was in his being so fully that you couldn't be in his space without feeling that vibration. And so that's what I was hoping, and that's what I was wanting and conversing and asking. I wanted to feel this love. That was part of my prayer. And this is what I heard. I heard, gratitude is the highest form of love. And that is how you will feel my presence. That is how you will feel my love. And I thought, wow, that's kind of deep. You know, okay, I'm asking, feel me. And it was like, okay, you want to feel me? Gratitude is the highest form of love. And so I had to sit with that. I sat with that for not only during that process, but for the rest of that evening. And this was before the next morning we were going to have a lesson on gratitude. But I had already received this message for me that gratitude is the highest form of love. And so as I sat with that idea, I thought, well, it does make sense, though. It makes sense because gratitude is something which expands the heart, right? You can't be in a state of gratitude and be closed off. It's impossible. The moment you have the experience of gratitude, the heart opens. And so since gratitude is something that expands the heart, an expanded heart is the vehicle and the vessel for love, right? The more your heart expands, the more love is able to dwell in that place. And so I thought, okay, so this is really good. So instead of trying to get more love into my life or into my affairs, perhaps what I can work on is to be more grateful, to be in a state of gratitude, whereby then love becomes the byproduct. You follow? Yeah, so and this is a really good thing, because see, both of them, love and gratitude, both of them are spiritual qualities that they're qualities of increase and expansion. Gratitude increases whatever is praised. Whatever is praised grows. Love is also an expanding quality. Whatever is love also grows and unfolds and becomes more of. They are both the sort of natural divine energy that has a multiplying effect. So I thought, well, this makes so much sense to me. So if I wanted to feel God's presence more in my life as love, then I could actually begin by simply being more thankful or being filled with gratitude. Gratitude for everything and for everyone. Because this is an important part, because sometimes it's easier to be grateful for everything and maybe even for everyone than it is to try to love everyone and everybody. Right? But because this is a good way to experience what we call divine love, because while I might not be able to express unconditional love yet, I'm working on that, Well, I might not, because unconditional love, everybody says, oh, I have unconditional love. Not. Come on now. We have conditions for our love, do we not? Yes. I love you one minute and don't love you the next minute. So our love is very conditional until I believe we reach a certain state of consciousness, a certain level of consciousness where therefore it does become unconditional. It's just the expression of God's love. So I thought, okay, so while I'm trying to work on this whole concept of unconditional love, I could then instead concentrate on being grateful for all things. And if not all things, then maybe most things. At least while I'm unfolding and I'm developing and I am growing. So if you're having a hard time with this concept of unconditional love, because Lord knows there are people that are hard to love, right? We all have them. We may even be one of them. But because of that, we can try putting ourselves in a state of gratitude instead. It's easier for me to feel I can be grateful rather than think I can just unconditionally love everything. So why not start there? Because ultimately it's going to lead you to where you want to be. So putting oneself in a state of gratitude, I thought, well, maybe, here's a practice. And they call these practice. They said, you should do a sadhana. And a sadhana is simply a spiritual practice that you do that leads you to the desired state of being that you want, or God, or good, or grace, or whatever it is. So it's a spiritual practice. So here's a practice, a couple of practices. Maybe try finding at least 10 new things every day to be grateful for. Let me say 10 things. It could be anything. Thankful, when I was driving, I said, I am so thankful and grateful that I have a car to ride in. Oh, I am so grateful that I have a coat to put on and be warm. It doesn't have to be these grand things. There are millions of things that we can be grateful for. The idea is to express that, to see it and to notice it, right? So maybe every day come up with at least 10 things that you are grateful for. Or maybe you might want, in addition to that, you might want to spend some time in meditation. I've encouraged this before. Just simply spend time in meditation, being thankful, just saying, thank you, God, thank you, God. Just that word, just that uttering of that will open your heart. So maybe you spend 10 minutes a day doing that. Or you could write, or you could call 1, 2, 3 people that you haven't contacted in a while and just let them know, hey, I'm thinking of you. I really appreciate you. Somehow or another, you make connections. Or you can make sure that every day you've at least expressed appreciation for one person every single day. On your job, a stranger on the street, somebody in the supermarket, your family, whatever. Something that allows you to express gratitude and appreciation. In other words, you're going to cultivate gratitude. But you're cultivating it as a state of being. Because here's the thing. Gratitude is not just an act of saying thank you. It is a feeling of being. Because we can get into, well, children, I'm supposed to say thank you, so thank you for this and thank you, God, thank you. That is not gratitude. You must feel it. It is a feeling. So you're cultivating this state of being. It's a state of being, right? It's a feeling of your beingness. I'm grateful for this, and it begins to expand. And if you can cultivate this state of gratitude, watch how your heart will begin to flower. Watch how love will begin to find its way into your life and into your affairs. Watch how things begin to change and grace begins to flow, and all of a sudden, life really is good. Gratitude is the highest form of love. Now, while that's the message I got during that meditation and that process time, I believe that there are also other forms of love or qualities that lead to love or that demonstrate love as well. Gratitude certainly is a high form of love. But what about forgiveness as a form of love? Forgiveness as a form of love. We've all heard the statement, to err is human, but to forgive is what? Divine. It's divine. Yes, it takes a high quality of being, and of consciousness and of heart to forgive. You can't be in a low vibration and try to forgive. It just doesn't work. It takes a higher vibration for you to even begin to think about forgiving. See, because whenever we come in contact with another living being, a human being, for any length of time, you can rest assured there is going to be a need for forgiveness. Right? It's just, that's the truth. If you come in contact with another human being for any length of time, there will be a need for forgiveness. Because we all make mistakes. We all, there's always like an opportunity for misperceptions to occur because we all don't see alike. We don't see things in the same manner. There's always going to be an opportunity for miscommunication. We don't hear in the same way or speak in the same way or hold the same visions. There will be feelings that will be hurt. There will be disappointments, failed expectations, unmet expectations, delusions, illusions, broken, all of that. And the healing elixir for that is forgiveness. Those things are going to occur. Somebody's going to disappoint you. Not that they have done anything, but it's your expectation. It's what you put out that wasn't met and that you thought and wasn't conveyed and blah, 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 blah. And there you have it, right? So healing then, the healing elixir has to be forgiveness. Because let's face it, without forgiveness, friends, there would be no lasting relationships. There wouldn't be any without forgiveness. For where there is love, there must be forgiveness as well. So forgiveness is also a high form of love. Who do you need to forgive? What do you need to forgive? And are you in that mix? Meaning yourself as well. See, unforgiveness stops the flow. And you may say the flow of what? Well, the flow of love, the flow of joy, the flow of peace, the flow of abundance, the flow of any of God's good qualities or qualities of goodness. Unforgiveness blocks that flow. So we have to always make sure that we are making space, that we are creating space or creating a clear channel for the love or for the goodness of God to flow to and through. And forgiveness does that. It keeps your channels clear, right? And so we want to make sure that that is taking place. At the end of the day, here's a side enough for you, a practice. At the end of the day, check to see if there is anything that you need to release. Anything that you need to let go of. Anything that you need to practice with forgiveness. And there'll be something. But we should bring it to mind, bring it to consciousness at the end of each day. Because remember that this state of forgiveness is a state of being and of consciousness. And we want to cultivate it so that it becomes an automatic condition of the heart. When we condition ourselves to do it enough, the heart will automatically respond with forgiveness. It'll be easy. It'll naturally arise within us. So we have gratitude, and we have forgiveness as high forms of love. And I thought, well, what about understanding? Because everyone wants to be understood. You know, we're taking it deeper. We want to be loved, we want to be forgiven, and we want to feel understood. Everyone, because it's a natural desire of the human condition to want to be understood. When we are understood, we feel validated. We feel valued. We feel honored. We feel, that we are somehow acknowledged. And everybody desires that. Now, again, I think when you reach a certain level of consciousness, those things aren't quite as strong because you will already know that you are valued. You will know that you are validated. You will know that you are honored. You will know who's and who you are. But as we grow into that level, these things are important for the human spirit. Now, usually when arguments and disagreements, they occur, because that's going to happen naturally. But it is when they last for a lengthy time, or they turn ugly. Because you know arguments and disagreements can turn ugly, can they not? Yes, they get ugly. And when that happens, it is because we want the other to agree with us, right? And I might repeat myself until you're not agreeing with me, so it must be you don't understand me. So I'm going to say it again and again and again and again, and you're going to say your point again and again. Look, agreement and understanding are two completely different things. They're two different things. And I don't have to agree with you in order to understand you. And we need to get over this need to have everybody agree with us. It comes from the sense of, wanting ourselves to feel that we are right. And I put myself in the mix of this as well. But we've got to somehow get over this need to have everybody agree with you. They may not agree with you. Our task is to stand in and upon our own convictions while also remaining open and receptive to be able to hear and to see another's point of view. Now, that can only happen when you understand that another's opinion of you does not diminish your sense of self-worth. Because if you think that it does, then you're going to try to convince the other person to agree with you. When you have a sense of who you are, and you can stand in that, and your sense of self-worth, your disagreement with me does not diminish who I am. So I don't have to fight as hard to have you agree with me. I can simply try to understand your point of view while maintaining my own in love. See, this is a process. This takes a while for us to get to this point, because I really don't have to agree with you to understand you or to see your point of view. Because if somebody can authentically listen to you and truly understand where you're coming from, that's usually enough. If they feel that you are authentically hearing them, and if they are not looking for total agreement, but simply to be understood. And if we can offer this kind of understanding from this high place of love, it is a high place. When you offer understanding, true understanding, it is a high form of love, because it's simply saying, I see you, I hear you, I honor you, I recognize you. Doesn't mean I agree with you, but I can do all of those other things. And when you are able to express that to someone, that will speak to the soul of that person, even if you disagree. Even St. Francis of Assisi said, right, in his famous, most powerful prayer, "Make me an instrument of thy peace," he said, "Let me so not much seek to be understood as to understand." It's so important, because when we can understand another human being, what we're doing is we're touching the divine. Because what stands under all things is God, right? When I offer you my understanding, I am offering an essence of God to you. That's powerful, and that comes from love. To be able to do that has to come from that place of love. To be able to put yourself in another's shoes, which we don't do often. But to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, to be able to really see another's point of view. And I'm speaking to myself. I get locked in my own tunnel vision. And that's okay, I can have my opinion, but I also want to be open enough to be able to see what the other person may be where they may be coming from, to feel where they're coming from, even if I don't agree with them. This leads to empathy, which is a feeling of the other, a feeling for, a feeling towards the other. And if we are going to grow spiritually, this has to take place. All of your great sages, prophets, whatever, had love for the sacred other. Did they not? Everybody had love for the other. If you don't have love for the other as yourself, that gives you an indication you haven't developed to a certain level of spiritual consciousness. Because when you do, all of a sudden, it moves out from just me, it moves out to this is me, Out here, this is me in here. The other becomes sacred. The other becomes a part of who we are. Now, wouldn't that be great if everybody in the world could reach this level of consciousness? We would have peace on earth and goodwill towards God's people. It would be a different world. So, during this time of expressing and sharing love by giving candy and chocolates and flowers, which are great, but why not give the gifts that move beyond the physical? Why not give these gifts, of gratitude and forgiveness and understanding? Because there could be no greater gifts that you could give to another person than to give those qualities of your being. That's powerful to give. And it'll truly bless you and bless the other. Now, here's what I want to say. Having said all of that, talked about love and gratitude and forgiveness, all of that, none of what I have just said to you will have any effect at all if you are not able to do this one crucial thing, and that is to love yourself. Right? You see, all of that, if you cannot do that, everything else is going to be moot. Because you can never receive love from another if you do not love yourself. You can't receive it. If you have self-loathing, how can you receive the love that somebody else is trying to share with you? Can't do it. And you will never be able to actually give love to another until you can truly love yourself. That's powerful, powerful teaching. And I'm not talking about this instinctive love. I think that happens when, parents have their children. Even if they don't love themselves, sometimes they can tap into loving that child, but it's very difficult. It's even difficult to love God if you can't love yourself. Because this lack of love for self blocks you from receiving it out here. So we've got to learn then to love ourselves secondly. And I say secondly because the first love must be for God. The Bible says God loved us first. We love because he loved us first. There has to be a love. So the first course is this. The first course is love for God and then love for self. Because Jesus put it this way in the only two commandments he gave. He said, love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, with all of your strength. And the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. He says there's no commandment greater than these. So there you have it. Love is powerful. And loving God is a given. It must take place, it is first. Because the fact that you can love is simply because God loved you. Because God places that energy in you as love. And the Bible says God is love, and that love, it dwells within you. So first off, it's loving God with everything you have. Soul, mind, might, everything. And then the second one is loving your neighbor. Not first, not second, but as yourself. In order to get to the as, you've got to love yourself. So this is so powerful because what it says is that, before I try to even love my neighbor, or love my partner, or love my boo, or whoever, I've got to love God first. That's how I learn what love is. That's how I get into this flow. And once I begin to love God first, it becomes naturally for me then to begin to love myself before I love neighbor, partner, boo. Loving myself first, loving and offering myself forgiveness, offering myself some understanding towards oneself. You've got to start there. I could be the hardest thing. I love you, but I am so hard on me. Loving oneself for all your flaws, all your faults, all your shortcomings, all your misgivings, your poor judgment, everything, all of that, to begin to love all of that, all of your mistakes. Because you cannot offer to another what is lacking in yourself, right? You cannot give what you do not have. I cannot give you love if I have no love for myself. So this is the process that we are in. Because when you have enough love for self, when you have enough forgiveness for yourself, when you have enough understanding of yourself, there will be less to forgive in others, less to understand in others. It all begins within you. Because you're no longer, when you can love yourself and see yourself and accept yourself, you will no longer try to fix the other or to right what is wrong in them or what you perceive is wrong in them. Or you will also no longer have the need for them to try to fix you or to fulfill you, or to fulfill your needs. I'm going to tell you this right now. No one can fulfill your needs save God. So looking for fulfillment out here in somebody else is not going to work. You are always going to come up short because they are going to come up what? Short. God is what we're seeking. And so when you can feel whole and well and accepting of yourself, just as you are as a growing, unfolding being, then all of a sudden your heart will become big enough to simply offer love and acceptance for the other. And once this happens, once you begin to allow your heart to flower and the love to flow, love unleashed is a mighty force. It is God in action, healing, harmonizing, writing, joining together everything into this wonderful presence and power that is God. That's our goal. So, my beloved ones, I wish you love. I wish you love for God first, for yourself, as your neighbor. Let love, divine love, lead the way. Namaste and blessings. Namaste. Namaste.